We are recording.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening to talk about Hiawatha Bond 2022 improvements. Starting off with our updates to the Hiawatha car and bus line. Very excited to share with you our planning to improve the site and make it safer for students and staff. I'm going to start by doing some introductions, but I'm going to share my screen and run through our presentation for this evening. So our goal is to spend an hour or less here with folks to make sure that we are providing an update on our plans for Hiawatha, and then have members of our team introduce themselves, and there'll be time at the end, certainly for people to provide some questions for clarification if they have any. So without further ado, we're going to get started. So tonight we're going to talk about introductions here first to the team members, discuss the critical needs regarding the Hiawatha car line and bus line and the current conditions we're trying to solve. We're going to talk about the plan we've developed and how that was reviewed and came to be, and what the new Hiawatha student drop-off and car line will look like, the projected schedule for that, and how we're going to next steps in communication. So again, I'm John Hood, Superintendent, Okemos Schools. Pleasure for me to introduce Stacy. Stacy, would you say a few words?
Hi, Stacy Bailey. Happy to be here tonight. I got to start off this year at Hiawatha supporting Mrs. Jody Noble before we had Mr. Phil Core. So excited to be here with some of our Hiawatha families tonight.
Thanks, Stacy. And Katie Deal, our Director of Safety and Security.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks to all of you for being here with us tonight. I'm the Director of Safety and Security for the school district, and I came on board in the middle of October. So I'm just really glad to be here with all of you and to be an important piece of the school district in consideration to all of our safety and security needs. So thank you.
Thanks, Katie. And then Corinne Karpinski, our Director of Transportation.
One moment, please.
Yep, no problem.
I think I'm here. Hello?
You're here. Yep.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I am the Director of Transportation for Okemos. I have been in the department since 1999. So I look forward to this presentation. So, yeah.
Thanks, Corinne. Sorry, I forgot one N on the slide there in your name. My apologies.
Oh, that's all right.
And then we had Joe Core, our new principal at Hiawatha. Joe.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Core. I'm the new principal at Hiawatha. I've been here almost a month and a half and super excited.
Thanks, Joe. And of course, our Wizard of Oz behind the scenes of all things with our streaming, and gosh, I don't even know how to introduce you, Matt, but Matt Ottinger does so much for our district. Everybody knows his voice, and hopefully his reputation precedes him.
And that's all you're getting today is my voice, my camera.
So in addition to school district personnel, we have partners from Crispin Company, Tower Pinkster, and Veritas Group to introduce themselves. These are our partners that are helping us with our bond planning and implementation. So we'll start with from Tower Pinkster, Ed.
Good evening. Thanks, everybody. Ed Talaga, Senior Project Manager with Tower Pinkster, managing the bond work for our company and our team.
Awesome. And then we'll go to Andrew.
Hi, everyone. Also, Andrew Howard, Project Manager from Tower Pinkster, working specifically with Hiawatha. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. And then Alex.
Good evening, everyone. I work with Hurley Stewart, one of the professionals engaged to assist in traffic needs and addressing concerns on the site.
Thanks, Alex. And then from the Crispin Company, we'll go to Rob.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Rob Crow. I'm with the Crispin Company, and we're the construction management partner of the team. Nice to see you all.
Thanks, Rob. We'll go to Shane.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shane Lounsbury. I'm the project manager with the Christmas Company, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, Shane. And then from the Veritas Group, our owners reps helping represent Okemos, Allison.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Allison Duncan. As John said, I'm with the Veritas Group, and we are the owner's representative for your district throughout the bond program and supporting John and his team through this entire process.
Awesome. Thank you, team, for joining us this evening. So our meeting norms for tonight, whenever we hold a meeting, especially on Zoom, as we do with our students in our classrooms, we want to model the behavior we'd expect from our audience. So you can read them there. We want to make sure that we're respectful of each other, seeking to understand, assuming positive intentions here, focus on our topic this evening, which is the Hiawatha car and bus line, clarity and brevity. So be brief when we allow you time for verbal comments or questions. We want to try to get to as many people as we can, and we're really not designed for one-on-one extended conversations this evening. So we ask that you stay muted, and we will have an opportunity for verbal comments or typed comments below towards the end of the meeting for everyone. So if you have a question to clarify, if you have a comment, what you like, if you have a comment about something you don't like, certainly we're open to hearing those things, but we think we've designed a great solution for Hiawatha working with our partners. So each of our schools and sites provided input to us as we went down the path of the potential 2022 bond that was eventually approved by our voters. And to do that, we surveyed our stakeholders, surveyed our families. We had 8 listening sessions just like this, a couple in person and many online, where people could provide us specific building level feedback on what they thought some of the needs and wants were for each of the sites across the campus, Okemos District campus. In addition to that, we had a steering committee of stakeholders from every school and really from almost every demographic group you could think of in terms of teachers, staff, parents, students, board members, senior citizens, community members, businesses, all helped in our engagement to identify needs and prioritize what projects should be in our bond. Our $275 million bond, very generous from our community, but that even the $275 million couldn't meet all the needs we had before us. We also engaged key staff members across the district, asking them for particular insights into our places and locations, as we know they have expertise with these spaces because they live in them daily. The district also hired a third-party independent company to do some statistically valid surveys. And we've been providing updates since on via email, board updates, and to our website as well. So one of the things that came out of those listening sessions and our facilities assessment that we hired Tower Pinkster to do as well was we heard loud and clear regarding improvements needed to be made to the Hiawatha car line. Car lines can provide an opportunity for safety concerns. And certainly when we assessed that at Hiawatha, we heard that both from our facilities assessment lens and from the lens of staff and parents. We see a congestion of cars and buses that are utilizing that same entry and exit, very cramped quarters during drop off and pickup, and the safety concerns that are related to that congestion. Even this fall, we had a fender bender occur between a school bus and a vehicle, and certainly not ideal. And we've heard that from our drivers too. It's just really tight, and we believe we could improve the safety there. We also hear pretty regularly from our neighbors around Hiawatha that we love that they have concerns about the backup during drop off and pickup, and even during school events, to the backup that occurs onto the adjacent roads into the neighborhood. Not ideal. People will block driveways. It can be a concern for our neighbors, and we want to be good neighbors to them as a school district. And looking at it from the emergency access point, with only one access to the school, should we have an emergency during pickup or drop off, that area is already congested and can be literally at a gridlock, that we really needed to come up with an additional access point to the school for emergency response. It could give us another way in or another way out if we need it. And then of course, special events. We know all our buildings get crowded during special events because our community is so involved, but wanted to see what we could do to alleviate that congestion with parking during special school events. So that was what we assessed from those listening sessions and the problem we're trying to solve with the approach that we'll share with you tonight. So our design team from Tower, Pinkster, and Hurley and Stewart helped design some potential solutions for us when we talked about those problems we wanted to solve. And then we also further engaged our district leadership, our building principals, used Corrine from our transportation department, Katie, and secure education consultants who have helped us with our safety plans. And then Chrisman Company as well. And we've consulted with the Am County Road Department to make sure any changes that we're undergoing fit in with overall traffic safety as well. So that team is kind of responsible for the presentation we're excited to share with you tonight. So again, the goals align directly with those critical needs that we shared with you. We are separating the car and bus loop in this design, and that is something that we're doing district-wide. When we did the 2019 bond improvement at Bennett Woods, we did that as well, separated those two. And that's something that is holding true to our approach district-wide as we look at building new buildings as well. We're looking at decreasing that congestion on site, reducing the backup to the adjacent roads, increasing the emergency access points, and then additional parking during special events. So you'll see tonight how the plan meets all of those criteria. And now we'll turn it over to our partners to kind of share what the current layout is and our solution.
Thank you, John. So just a little bit more about myself, everyone. I work for a company called Hurley Stewart. We're a professional engineering firm. We specialize in design and transportation engineering. As part of the bond program, we were engaged by the school district to assist in addressing some of these concerns, as John mentioned. As you are aware, and you can see on this slide, the current configuration of the campus allows for only one shared entrance for access on the left side of the slide. This access point is utilized by the staff, student drop-off, pickup, and bus transportation alike. This limited space and area for the bus transportation and available parking results in the congestion that we're seeing. And it also results in congestion in the adjacent roads, which can cause safety concerns. So the next slide is the new layout that the team has come up with and coordinated with the partners. This professional engagement that we worked on, we worked closely with the school district, Ingham County Road Commission, just to try and come up with a plan that will improve the conditions. This new configuration allows for 2 dedicated entrances now. There's an entrance off of Summergate. It's dedicated for staff parking and bus drop-off. The new entrance we're showing off of Fair Hills at the Elk Lane intersection is dedicated for student drop-off and parking, which then no longer has a connection to the existing. So these 2 areas are dedicated and separated. The new entrance will feature 3 drive lanes. 2 of the lanes are dedicated for parents to get in line to drop students off, 1 lane for the parents to leave. This also will allow for special event overflow. With the separation of traffic, additional parking and area for students to be waiting to be dropped off will alleviate a lot of the congestion concerns. In addition, these allow for a couple extra areas for emergency access teams to access if needed. They can access from the west or from the east off of the 2 roads. The next slide will show the kind of an overall rendering of what this could look like. On the west side, you can see the buses dropping off students. It's a dedicated entrance that's not connected. And then on the east side, you can see where cars come in, they stack up and are available to drop students off. Again, this will also allow for special event overflow. The next slide is just a more zoomed in view of the bus parking. In this slide, you can see the buses, how they're dropping off. In addition, you can see the separation between the 2 areas. So there's no longer a point of access between the 2. Next slide here, this is the view from the other side of the campus. This shows the amount of space that we're providing for parents to stack up and queue. In addition to that, we're providing a new stop sign at the intersection. This will allow for some safe traffic flows getting in and out of the new drive. And then the last slide here, this shows the additional parking, and you can see the function of the cars stacking up and waiting in line to drop parents off or students off, sorry. This is kind of a,
Yep,
go ahead,
and I want
John.
to note here, we do have a through lane as well, so you can access the parking lot either through the through lane and around, or access the parking lot by turning left and going into the lot. Our double stacking and merging is a strategy we use throughout the district to alleviate congestion from adjacent roads. And I do want to note the fence, see the fence in here. You saw it on the prior slide as well. So there is a fence to separate the playground from the road area. If kids are, kicking balls or playing, it provides a safety barrier for our students as well. So team, can you talk about, just talk about the numbers on the problem we were trying to solve, and with the traffic study we did, what we're gaining from this? Can you just briefly summarize this for the group, please?
Absolutely. So working with the Ingham County Road Commission, we had worked on doing a traffic study. We went out, counted the number of cars that were coming in and out of the campus, and then we coordinated that with the county. So one of the goals that we were trying to achieve was separation of the car line in the bus loop, which was accomplished by this approach. The other thing was to address the congestion on site. So part of that traffic study, we realized that there was only about 30 cars that we had stacking for parents to drop off. So parents would come, there'd be room for 30 vehicles. This new improvement based on the traffic study shows that we'd have approximately double that amount. So we would have around 60 cars that would be allowed to stack and kind of wait for student drop off. The other improvement that is a safety improvement is the backing up onto the adjacent roads. One of the main concerns from Ingham County when we were coordinating with them was the cars that back up on the Jolly Road being a major safety concern. So the goal was to try and get all the vehicles into the campus where they're off the road and won't have any interactions with other vehicles that are moving. By doing that, we had 20 cars that would stack up into Jolly Road. But now, based on this configuration, no cars will back up onto Jolly Road, and no cars will back up onto the new entrance public roads as well. So really, we achieved decreasing the congestion, reducing the backup on the Jolly Road. In addition, there's the 2 emergency access points are provided. So that means safer access for our emergency response teams. And there's additional parking that would be provided in the area where the new driveway is as well.
Yeah, and what we mean by that is it's two lanes in, 1 lane out. When we're not doing drop off and pick up, that right-hand lane that's adjacent to the curb could be used to stack additional parking. So then you'd have 1 lane in, 1 lane out for special events, which is similar to what we have now in terms of access. So that allows additional parking and stacking during, if you have your Fall Fest or your fun run or a field day or a special parent event, that'll get more cars in.
I want to add, we've added clearly defined sidewalk paths and crosswalks for pedestrians, so it's a very clear path, and also the walking trail adjacent to Jolly is maintained as well, so that continues through the site.
Yeah. In terms of trees and tree removal, the district in this project, partners, can you just talk about our approach to trees and replacing trees and headlights shining into homes, that type of thing?
Yeah, we've got we are removing some trees for the construction, but we'll be replacing trees, and we'll have a minimum. We'll be replacing all the trees at a minimum. They might be in some different locations, but we're also identifying, locating some trees so that it does reduce any kind of impact from headlights that might be shining towards the road from the as you exit the site.
Actually towards Fair Hills. Yeah. And we had noted too during drop off and pickup, sometimes our families are using Fair Hills as a place to park and walk kids in, or as a place for kids to walk across the grass and get into a car on Fair Hills. So this also solves that concern of, back up onto Fair Hills with a, unofficial car line that people have kind of used to avoid the congestion that currently exists on Summergate. So partners, give us an update on timeline here so people know when this might occur.
Sure, thanks, John. Like I said, I'm Shane Lonsbury. I'm with the Chrisman Company, and speaking to the site construction. In regards to community impacts, next summer, the site will be completely closed. The parking lot, the building, and the playground will be completely closed. The site construction is to occur from June through August, and we'll be starting up, the plan is to start up by the start of school. That's all I have for that.
Thanks, Shane. So we're about a half an hour into our meeting, just a little less than that, and we've done our presenting. So now we want to give an opportunity for our community members that might be here to do some sharing, and can certainly speak briefly if they wish to do so, to ask a clarifying question to the team. So there's a couple of ways to share out this evening. The first is using the chat feature on Zoom, which is located at the bottom or top. It looks like a thought bubble. And you have the opportunity to send a chat message with a question or comment to our Assistant Superintendent, Stacy Bailey. Stacy will be recording all of those and kind of sharing those back out. And that's, again, if you don't want the opportunity to speak publicly, we know that's not everyone's modality. So that's an option for you. The other thing to do is, just like we do at our board meetings, and this is a superintendent meeting, not a board meeting, but if you want to speak and ask a question directly, you'll have a chance to send a message to Matt Ottinger in the chat feature. We ask that you include your name and address there, and where your students attend if you're comfortable doing so. We certainly want to hear from Hiawatha community on this. And if you're going to share out verbally, we ask that you keep it concise. You're limited to a 1-minute type of question or response. And then again, our purpose for the team here is to give additional information. We can certainly also listen, but the idea here is not to engage in a one-on-one. If you need to do that, we can follow up with you individually later. So we've put a couple of just leading questions up there that might help frame the feedback portion. So if this turns out to be one of the best experiences, what will have happened? If this turns out to be one of the worst experiences, what will have happened? Or do you need clarifications from our team? We went through the presentation, and if you want us to go back through a slide and point anything out, we are happy to do that. Again, this is funded through the Bond 2022 funds. And again, it was as a result of the needs assessment, specifically with feedback from the Hiawatha community. So with that, I will allow people now to use their chat feature to either chat with Stacy Bailey or to send a request to Matt Ottinger, and we can then open it up for some questions.
Okay, we have our first question.
Yes.
Will there be speed bumps installed on the entrance to the school? I don't know
So
who
question
that's
for our design, for the design team. Are speed bumps something we should consider, or something considered there?
Alex, maybe you can confirm it. I don't think we've identified any speed bumps at this time, but that's something we can certainly look at and see if there's a need for that.
That's correct, Ed. Yes, there currently are not any speed bumps planned for this. Certainly can look into the traffic study and see if there's any recommendation for them. However, at this time, there are not any planned. That's correct.
Hey, another question. Will the neighborhood walking path that is very much in need of repair, that is to the north of this constructed entrance, be redone?
I'm going to just bring that up so people can see it. So this is the kind of white path in the back there. And I know we talked to the team about that. So team, you want to respond to that?
Sure. We don't currently have that identified as part of our estimate of work that we've designed up to this point, but we certainly could include that. We're going to go back to the facility assessment and see what was identified there. And if there's certainly some safety concerns, we can take a look at that and replace portions of that as needed.
Yeah, so we are committed to making sure, especially if people are going to be using that it's safe. And looking at doing that as kind of a bid alternate to this project, because we know that kids are using it. We want it to be safe.
Okay, if you could, this is a question regarding the 2-lane stacking for drop off and pickup. So maybe if we went to that slide. The question is, with the 2 lanes stacking for drop off and pickup, will the entrance to the front parking be accessible, or will those lanes block traffic flow? So they're just saying it's kind of hard to see in the image. So will the entrance, let me read it again. Will the entrance to the front parking be accessible, or will those lanes block traffic flow?
I
Yes,
think
so
Alex, you
that,
can answer that.
that current configuration that we're showing is, it will block vehicles from getting there initially. Once they get to a certain distance up there, then they'll be able to access the parking lot.
So until they do this merge here that you see on this slide, they'll be in the car line. So I'll ask people to keep left that want to access the parking area, and they'll just have to be patient and wait, and then they can take a left and get into the lot there.
Okay, in regards on that slide, when we look at that fencing that's along the pathway, what is the type of fencing that will be used and how high will it be?
Alex, I know it's a mesh fence. I believe 6 foot, but I'd have to verify that.
Yes, I believe that's correct, Andrew. The current plan fence is a metal mesh fence that'll be black vinyl coated. Generally around 6 feet high is the recommended height for the fence.
I do not have any additional questions in the chat.
We'll go to Matt Ottinger and see, Matt, do you have anyone that wanted to speak to ask their question or clarifications?
I do not at this time.
All right, so we're about a half an hour in, and I'll just give it a few more minutes. And again, as we bring that sharing questioning window to a close, we will give one final chance to provide that feedback. And while we're doing that, I'll go to my next slides here. 1 second, if I can go down. So our next steps, so you're aware, is we invited our community here this evening. We sent out an email to our Hiawatha listserv. We also sent out an email to our community listserv, and shared with the local homeowners association as well, because we know this may impact the neighborhood, to really try to be transparent and making sure that everyone's aware of our plans, so we can be good neighbors. The Board of Education will receive a shortened version of this at the board meeting on the 11th. This will be posted to the district website, both the PowerPoint and a copy of this video presentation. So if you're a neighbor or a staff member and you weren't able to make it tonight, a community member, anyone that had any concerns can access this and see the presentation in its full transparency. And then we certainly are updating our employees. We met with the Hiawatha teachers, I think it was yesterday. It's only Tuesday. Yes, we met with them yesterday to review the plan. And they provided some great feedback and thanks in terms of increasing the safety for our students and staff, and being better neighbors as well. So those are our next steps in terms of communication. Again, this is funded by you, the community. So we want to thank you for support of the 2022 bond. And we're really looking forward to this improvement on the site starting next school year and being done before the school year begins. So with that, I'll open it up one more time for questions and we'll
Yep.
get to the last questions and then we'll let people go on their way for the evening.
Yep, so we have two more. The next one is, does the pedestrian sidewalk along new Fair Hills entrance run the full length? How will kids getting out of car line vehicles be managed?
So this, let me go backwards a little bit here. So maybe we can show, okay, yep, this is the best one, I believe. So can you guys see my cursor when I'm actually showing it on the screen? Does that cursor show up?
We can, yes.
Okay, good. Because I've been doing the cursor all night, just assuming people could see it. So you'll see this darker white line here. So we're actually extending the drop-off area just a little bit. Our intention is not to have kids being dropped off all the way on this line. So I'm going to have Joe Core, the principal, talk a little bit about the process they use there. So Joe, if you could talk a little bit about how that might look or work, because we do want to increase a little bit of the area where we can drop off, but we also want to keep it safe and supervised. So Joe, do you want to talk to that?
Sure. So we decided, or we talked a little bit about this, Mrs. Saints and myself, and the other staff members that help out there. One of the things we talked about doing was putting designated drop-off spaces or markers, whether that's a cone or a flag, so that you know when you pull up to the point of the flag, then you're safe to drop your student off, and the students are expected to stay in the vehicle and up until that point. So both ends of the drop-off area will be clearly marked for everybody. We also talked about potentially doing a how-to video for everybody so you could see how it works. But there will be, just like there is now, there will be adults at both ends of the line trying to help make sure that the students know where to go and how to enter the building. The other thing that wasn't mentioned, that I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of too, we have in this particular slide, you can see there's one crossing point from the parking lot to the school. So if you're dropping off and walking your child, as your student to the building, there's going to be one crossing point, which will help monitor those students and adults getting across with our current crossing situation with staff using the stop and go sign. So it'll be very similar. It's just going to be extended a little bit further to allow for more students to be able to drop off and get out of the car so traffic flow can continue faster.
And right now there's an additional crossing area here that the district actually has a sign on pushing people here. So that'll be remedied and that'll no longer be a crossing area here and it will just be here. That'll be staff monitored. So yep.
Yep.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Okay, a few more questions. Were the neighbors on Fair Hills informed about this?
So yes, we sent out to the homeowners association an invite to this meeting, as well as they got the same letter that that our staff members got and our community got regarding two entrances coming into the building. So Joe, you sent that to the homeowners association?
Yeah, I sent it to the, I don't know if I have the email handy, but
that's all right. Yep.
I think it was HOA president's email that I was given.
Yep.
Okay, we have two questions regarding the parking lot. The first one, in the current lot, will any of the islands be removed to allow for more parking, especially the islands where trees have died and been removed?
I believe the current plan now, we are not removing any of the islands. Islands are actually municipality requirements that need to stay, unfortunately. However, the additional parking is being provided. We've got this long new entrance that we kind of briefly talked about where we'll be providing additional storage for people to park.
But we will make sure that those areas are cleaned up through the construction and dead trees are removed and we have a nice clean look to those islands.
And the other question was, will the parking lot spaces be reduced? So I know I'm hearing there's that additional parking from the longer roadway, but the actual parking lot, will we see a reduction in the number of parking lot spaces?
So
Alex, I don't know if you know that answer.
Yeah, I don't offhand. I want to say we may have lost one or two spaces in total, but The additional parking that we're providing in the new driveway is way in excess of what's available for parking. So event parking, things like that, there's easily double to triple, I believe those numbers are.
Okay, one more question. It says, so cars are turning left on Jolly Road to get in Fair Hills. Won't that cause more accidents due to the blind spot? So they're turning left to get into that area. I guess concerns about additional blind spots.
Sure. No, we can certainly understand those concerns. Part of our engagement with the road commission was addressing any kind of safety concerns. We did an extensive traffic study that really revealed any kind of issues that may happen by doing these improvements. From that traffic study, we have not seen any concerns related to that. And Ingham County agrees, and they don't see any concerns either.
I do not have any additional questions at this time.
And we'll give Matt one more holler. Matt, any questions coming into you?
No one who wishes to speak, no.
All right. So again, we're very thankful for you taking the time this evening to engage with us. One of the most wonderful things about working for the Okemos schools is the supportive and engaged community we have that adds value to the work we do. So really happy to share with you this planning. And again, so thankful to work and serve in a community that supports its public schools. And again, we want to be good neighbors as well, as our schools are certainly an important part of our larger community. So I want to thank all our, yes, Stacy.
Just one more question.
Sure.
One
Take one
comment
more,
one comment was included, and that will be included in regarding the traffic study, that it was 1 week and that it was not on Jolly on Fair Hill. So one comment there. One question from someone else was, what will happen to the playground equipment that is over the soccer fields?
Yep.
Playground, we were going to be doing some modifications to the playground. And so I'm not sure what playground equipment you're talking about with the soccer fields, but obviously those two will be separated, and those improvements will be part of that.
Yep, and part of our bond program is we assess the needs to upgrade the playground at Hiawatha, so that working with, I think, Stacy, a committee and the parent group to help with some input into what the new playground might look like. But certainly we're going to make sure the playground's safe, and if, when things need to be moved, that we'll have a site plan for the updated playground that we're excited to work on with the bond program as well. We're good. Great. So thank you everyone for coming. It is 6:38. We'll let you get along with your evenings. Again, we'll have Matt Ottinger work with our communications team to get this posted to our website. And Joe will also make sure you share it out in your newsletter, so people that didn't benefit from the engagement tonight have opportunity to do so. So again, thank you to the Okemos team, to our partners from Tower Pinkster and Chrisman, and certainly our owners rep, Allison, for being here this evening. And certainly huge thanks to the Hiawatha community for coming out and providing questions and feedback to us. So we're excited to provide these bond improvements that you afforded us. So have a great night, everyone. And once again, thanks for joining us.